Jeff's Superscript is brought to you by Black Cat Comics and Collectibles. In my opinion, the best comic shop and clubhouse on the internet. Follow them at Black Cat Burbank on Instagram and join their claim sales on Tuesdays for new books and Fridays for back issues. And don't forget to ask about joining their Stray Cats Club for special perks.
Hi, I'm Jeff, and welcome to another one of my videos where I take a look at all the new comic books hitting Final Order Cutoff this upcoming weekend. Sunday, May 9th for everything from DC and Scout, and Monday, May 10th for everything that comes through Diamond, which is everything else. There's about 13 books that I want to talk about today, so I'm going to jump right into them. The first one I want to mention is a book called Heroes Reborn, American Knights #1. The description reads, an epic, oversized slugfest between the Squadron Supreme and an otherworldly group of Avengers for the final fate of the whacked-out world of Heroes Reborn. 56 pages, one shot. If you're into Heroes Reborn, it sounds like this might be essential reading to it. I am interested in Heroes Reborn. We'll see how many of the tie-ins that I end up purchasing, but the more I read about these tie-ins, the more interested I get, which is not so great for my wallet, but hopefully it'll turn out really well as a read. We'll see about that. The next book I want to mention to you is a book called Heroes Reborn, Marvel Double Action #1 from Marvel Comics. Sorry, everybody. I missed this book when I first did my recording, but I wanted to point it out to all of you. Here's the description. A tale from the Squadron's past. Years ago, Nighthawk and his trusted partner, the Falcon, patrolled the streets of Washington, D.C. from the vile criminals that lurked in the dark. But that all changed one fateful night. Representing, for the first time ever, the night Sam Wilson died. 40 pages, it's a one-shot. This one seems a lot less essential than the previous Heroes Reborn tie-in that I just mentioned, but if you're going all in on Heroes Reborn, I wanted to make sure you didn't miss this one. All right, our next book is Star Wars Bounty Hunters #1. This is a limited series of 5 from Marvel Comics. Here's the description. At war for the greatest prize of all, Han Solo, the hunt begins. Nobody steals from Boba Fett. The notorious bounty hunter will not stop until he gets what is rightfully his. For the thief, no corner of the galaxy is safe. Good thing for them that the Rebel Alliance, the Empire, and every bounty hunter in the galaxy is standing in Boba's way. With a last page reveal that will blow this Death Star-sized story wide open, issue #1 is just the beginning. The biggest crossover in Star Wars history will continue raging through the pages of the War of the Bounty Hunters event miniseries and tie in to Star Wars, Dr. Aphra, Darth Vader, and Bounty Hunters through October. Only one hunter will be left standing, and the Star Wars galaxy will never be the same. Well, the Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters Alpha just came out, and I was confused at first because of the way that Diamond was soliciting it. They were calling it Alpha #1, and I was like, is it Alpha or is it #1? But it was an Alpha. So I imagine we're going to have the Alpha that just came out this past week. We're going to have the 1 through 5 story, limited story of this, plus the crossovers that happen in all the different Star Wars titles right now. And then I imagine at the end, we'll have an Omega issue. I haven't had a chance to read the first one, but listen, Bounty Hunters are cool, Boba Fett's cool, Star Wars is cool, so all of these things add up to something, to something that could be very, very interesting. I'm looking forward to checking it out. The next book I want to mention to you is Basilisk. #1, this is from Boom Studios. Here's the description. Who can stop the Chimera? 5 individuals bound by a cult-like hive mind. They terrorize small towns with their horrifying supernatural sense-based powers, leaving death and destruction in their wake. Reagan, one of the Chimera, escaped and has been in hiding, with her murderous eyes bound, overcome with guilt, until now, when a victim from her past forces her to hunt down the other 4 of her kind. New York Times bestselling horror writer Cullen Bunn and artist Jonas Scharf reunite to unleash a supernatural horror series for fans of Philadelphia and Stillwater, rooted in the way we process the world, our senses. This sounds interesting to me. I like stuff from Boom Studios. Cullen Bunn is a guy who is a prolific writer. I feel like I see his name on some book, either new or otherwise, almost every single week. So this guy works, and he works a lot, and that bodes well for the quality of his work. I don't know too much about his writing personally, but I am interested in this. This is a book that I might recommend that you put onto your pull list. Just issue number 1. Pick it up, read it. If you like it, continue. If you don't like it, put it away in the PC. Store away that indie issue number 1 that has so much potential these days. And just maybe someday it will become the lottery ticket that's the big winner. Who knows? But anyways, regardless, for a lot of reasons, it sounds interesting. I'm going to add it to my pull list. I'm going to check out at least issue number 1. The next book I want to mention to you is a book called Everfrost, number 1, from Black Mask Comics. The description reads, Van Louise retired to the ice coast so she could quietly find a way off planet from a world on the wrong side of societal collapse. She biohacks a dead Leviathan to orchestrate passage away into the universe, but her plans are about to get chewed up by a mounting war between the warlords, violent gatekeepers for the global ruling party, and the Bloom, those who risk extinction living out on the water, as well as a family reunion with her son, who she hasn't seen since he died in her arms when he was a child. Join Ryan K. Lindsay, award-winning writer of Eternal and Negative Space, as he teams yet again with Sami Cavella, the artistic juggernaut behind Abbott and Undone by Blood, alongside Lauren, the colorist, and as they drop an absolute bomb to sci-fi insanity and heartbreaking emotion in the grandest Black Mask tradition. These descriptions are too long. I didn't need to read every single name of every single person involved in this book in this video. But this one doesn't sound as interesting to me. It sounds a little convoluted, the description. If it's interesting to you, though, check it out and make sure you have it reserved pre-Final Order Cutoff. The next book I want to mention to you is a book called Moths. Number 1, it's a 6-part limited series from artists, writers, and artisans. The description reads, Emily Kai has immense power inside her. However, the moment she taps into it, a clock starts. She will have only 6 months to live. As Emily enters into this journey, she contemplates how to use her gifts to bring beauty into the world in the limited time she has to use them. This sounds interesting. She uses her gifts to bring beauty into the world. I'm curious to know what her gifts are, what she does with them, and why it's worth ending her life in 6 months. This I find interesting. And J. Michael Straczynski and Mike Choi are 2 names that I'm familiar with by name, not by their work specifically myself. But this sounds like it could be an interesting book worth checking out. I don't know. We'll see. The next book I want to mention to you is a book called Out of Body, number 1, from Aftershock Comics. The description reads, when Dan Collins wakes to find his life hanging by a thread, he must use his astral projection to discover who tried to kill him. Who is the beautiful mystic who tries to help him? Why does August Fryne, F-R-Y-N-E, want Dan's soul? And what does it have to do with a demon who seems to be Dorian Gray? A weird occult detective thriller about life, death, and whatever lies in between. From award-winning comic book writer Peter Milligan and artistic sensation Inaki Miranda comes an awesome new dimension in horror and mystery. All right, this one sounds low-grade interesting to me as well. If it sounds interesting to you, you might consider reserving it. The next book I want to mention is a book called The S Factor, number 1, from Action Lab Danger Zone. Here's the description. An underappreciated sidekick named Gray Fox decides to rebrand himself through a new dating reality TV show for superheroes called The S Factor, where 12 female contestants fight for his affection. Meanwhile, his former superior, Dark Fox, is bewildered as to why he would put himself in such a vulnerable position. All right, this one I put on the list because if you're looking for something different this week from your comic book reading, This one definitely qualifies. So if you're looking for something different, you might want to check it out. The next book I'm going to mention to you is a plug-and-play pick for me. I almost don't even need to include this on the list because frankly, this should already be in your polls just as a recurring monthly thing. It's Batman 109 from DC Comics. The description says, main story. Mayor Nakano greenlights the magistrate pilot program for Gotham City as Batman goes toe-to-toe with the augmented and bloodthirsty Peacekeeper 01. It's a brutal battle for the ages, but what secrets does Harley Quinn hold about the man beneath the armor, Sean Mahoney? And how does all of this play into the Scarecrow's hands? The backup story is Ghostmaker is fighting through incredible odds to reach the nefarious Madame Midas, but will his next opponent, Brainstorm, be impossible to overcome? Is there anything particularly special about this book? No. 108 had the first full appearance of Miracle Molly. 109 is just a continuation of the story. Oh, it's really good. I love James Tynion IV so much. You should just obviously already have this on your list, like I said before. As far as I'm concerned, if you're not a fan of Batman, teach their own. But if you're not a fan of Batman, you're not going to be interested in this next one either. The next one is Batman: The Adventures Continue, Season 2, Issue number 1. Here's the description. Gotham City is changing. After Mayor Hill is killed by a mysterious assailant, Batman finds himself tracking down an ancient order that's long been buried under the streets of Gotham, the Court of Owls. But what does this group have to gain from the death of Mayor Hill? And how can Deadman help the Dark Knight? Well, these Batman The Adventures Continue books, the last one I think did really well. I think people enjoyed the read. There was a key book in there, so it had a lot going for it. It's very possible this one will as well. If you're a big fan of Batman, you'd want to know about this. If you're a big fan of the Batman The Adventures Continue kind of brand for Batman, you're definitely going to want to reserve this pre-Final Order Cutoff. The next book I want to mention to you is a book called Crush and Lobo. This is issue number 1 of an 8-issue limited series. Here's the description. In case anyone was wondering, Crush is doing just fine, actually. Sure, she recently walked away from her classmates at the Roy Harper Titans Academy and effectively quit being a teen titan in a blaze of glory. And okay, her relationship with her too-good-to-be-true girlfriend Katie is kind of on the rocks, if you want to get technical about it. Oh, and she recently found out Lobo's in space jail, but that's cool because he's the worst. Okay, maybe Crush has some stuff, and that doesn't mean she's gonna do anything about it, like actually go to space and confront her dad and all her problems because everything is fine, right? Okay, well, I like this description. This description at least was a little bit less bland and a little bit had a personality and a point of view, which I appreciate for that reason alone. I don't know much about Crush as a character, but if you're a fan of Crush, this seems to be almost like a Crush kind of solo series that you might be interested in checking out. And also, if you're just looking for something that has a little bit of a different tone, and maybe you like Lobo and you like Crush, whatever, this might be something that's a little different, that might be a little bit of a palate cleanser when it comes to all the other books checking out. And there may be some people in your life who are just going to love checking this out, so you may even want to pick it up for them. The next book I want to mention to you is a book called DC Horror Presents The Conjuring, The Lover, number 1. It's a 5-issue limited series. Here's the description. The terrifying debut of the tie-in to The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, begins here with a story that's busting at the seams with clues about the new film. Meet Jessica. Jessica just returned to her freshman year of college after winter break, bringing with her the anxieties of last semester's poor grades, the awkwardness of facing a boy she wishes she'd never slept with, and an undeniably unnerving feeling of being watched. She soon comes to realize that something evil made her its target, and it will not rest until it has her in its unholy grip. But why did this sinister presence set its sights on a seemingly normal college freshman? Read this nerve-wracking tale, creepily crafted by Conjuring screenwriter David L. Johnson McGoldrick and Rex Ogle, with heart-stopping art from Gary Brown and chill-inducing covers by Bill Sienkiewicz, to find out. All right, if you're a fan of horror comics, if you're a fan of The Conjuring, this might be a book for you. The next book I'm going to mention is DC Pride #1. This is a one-shot from DC Comics, obviously. Here's the description. DC celebrates Pride Month with 9 all-new stories starring fan-favorite LGBTQIA+ characters: Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, Midnighter, Extraño, Batwoman, Aqualad, Alan Scott, Obsidian, Future State Flash, Renee Montoya, Pied Piper, and many more. This anthology will also feature the thrilling introduction of new hero Dreamer in the DCU, as seen on the CW's Supergirl. A pinup gallery with art by Travis Moore, Chris Anka, Kevin Wada, Sophie Campbell, Nick Robles, and more. 6 exciting new profiles of DC TV's LGBTQIA+ characters and the actors who play them. This is a $10 book, so this is a beefy one-shot. So, as I've mentioned when we've had these type of socially themed books before, I'm all for it. I think that visibility is important to get society closer to acceptance. So when they do things like this, I think it's great. I'm really glad that they do it. I'm really glad that they focus on certain groups like this. But ultimately, what is essential, what it has to also have, are great stories, well told, and wonderfully executed by the writer and the artist. If it doesn't have that, it's going to stink. If it does have those things, it's going to be fantastic, regardless of the social agenda, I'll put it as, of the book. So it might be worth checking out if you enjoy these characters in and of itself, if you're interested in contributing to the increased visibility of the LGBTQIA+ community. And also, if this maybe if you're interested in the spec of this Dreamer character, might be worth picking up for that reason as well. And finally, the last book we're going to talk about today is the one I am the most excited about. It is The Nice House on the Lake. This is from DC Comics and my man, James Tynion IV. Here's the description. Everyone who was invited to the house knows Walter. Well, they know him a little anyway. Some met him in childhood, some met him months ago, and Walter's always been a little off. But after the hardest year of their lives, nobody was going to turn down Walter's invitation to an astonishingly beautiful house in the woods, overlooking an enormous Sylvan Lake. It's beautiful, it's opulent, it's private. So a week of putting up with Walter's weird little schemes and nicknames in exchange for the vacation of a lifetime? Why not? All of them were at that moment in their lives when they could feel themselves pulling away from their other friends. Wouldn't a chance to reconnect be nice? With Something Is Killing the Children and Department of Truth, James Tynion IV has changed the face of horror in modern comics. Now, get ready for his most ambitious story yet, alongside his Detective Comics partner, Alvaro Martinez Bueno. This is, you had me at James Tynion IV, frankly. He is my favorite writer. I'm loving everything he's doing, be it Something's Killed Children, be it Department of Truth, be it Wind. These are all, be Batman, obviously. All of these things are so good. So when I hear he has a new book, I'm like, yes, I'm picking that up. And absolutely, it's already on my poll. I heard about this book a couple weeks ago, and I immediately went to my poll list, and I immediately added it. So I'm really excited about this book. It'll be James Tynion IV doing what he arguably does best, which is in the horror genre. I am super excited about this book. So I would recommend it for every single one of you to also make sure you have reserved with your LCS pre-FOC so that you have no problem getting it on New Comic Book Day when it comes out. As a reminder, once again, all these DC books that I just mentioned, their final order cutoff is Sunday, a day earlier than everything else that I mentioned before, which is Monday for everything from Diamond. All right, so those are all the books that I wanted to talk about today. Thank you for listening to my list. I hope that it is helpful to you. If it is, likes are appreciated by me, so this would be a great time for you to hit that like button and show me that you appreciate this content. And once again, I want to congratulate every single one of you who are watching these FOC videos. It's one of my least watched videos, but I keep making it because I think this FOC information is so important, and I respect you and appreciate you, and I'm proud of you for also understanding how important and powerful FOC information is. So good on you. If this is one of my first videos that you ever watched and you haven't subscribed yet, here's my invitation for you to subscribe. Hit the subscribe guy. He's a great way to go ahead and do that. But make sure you hit the notification bell so you're informed about videos that I put out randomly from time to time. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.